This was a cakewalk.
This is easy. Nightmare. What's everybody talking about in the games? Like, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Nerd On.
What's going on?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nerd On, the podcast. The podcast you didn't need, but you deserve, and where all levels of nerd are welcome.
We met an hour early today.
Yes,
so Josh didn't get to warm up his voice the same way.
I'm here and ready.
That's just how I normally sound.
Yeah. That's how I sound, guys. But before we get into this chaos of episode, let us introduce the host. I am Josh.
I'm Tom.
I'm Corey.
And this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation that is powered by Patreon. As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get fun perks, like you get bonus episodes that nobody else hears.
Boner episodes.
Oh, remember what we used to call them that?
I never stopped.
That's
I don't know
true.
what you're talking about.
That's very true. You also get early access to these episodes before anybody else hears them. You get to hear them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all sorts of other perks, but one of my favorites is the secret channels on our super public Discord server that are only open to you and other Nerd On Nation members. We don't even have access. I'm just kidding. That's your direct access line to us. If you want to ask specific questions, right to us, head on over to that. But
Oh, yeah.
But you also, at the same time, you get to support us doing this thing and doing this thing more and doing this thing better. So check it out. More better. Less suck, more good. So check it out, nerdon.tv/Patreon. And check out that Discord. It's still public. So check it out. There's channels for everything. Movies, video games, books. I've been going on and on. Email.
Games.
Mail, motherfucker. So check it out, nerdon.tv/Discord.
There's like two people who knew what I was referencing right there, and that's fine by me.
And also check out Odyssey, Apogee, and Embody Audio. But that's the housekeeping.
Embody audio.
Embody audio.
We're going back for this episode.
God damn it.
Christ.
Yeah. It's not my favorite, but it's...
You know, you never did the opening. So why don't we tell them right now what we're doing?
Yeah, so
if we had done it right, this is what you would have heard.
Yeah, so a parasite known as the devil worm has infected humanity, and now undead mutants called the Ridden walk the earth. Humanity still has to survive and live on these streets. So what do? Call the cleaners. Today's episode wraps up January with our video game centric topic as we discuss the state of play with Back 4 Blood.
I wrote July.
You did write July.
That's crazy.
We're so anybody that's new to Nerd On,
Yeah, what
you're
the
welcome.
Yeah.
Who knew 1 hour would throw us
Yeah.
so many
But I'll tell
curveballs?
you this right now. The people who actually benefited the most were the people who kept listening and heard this like random assortment of how our episode goes.
Cacophony of what's
Wow.
happening. I mean, we were also covering another topic today, and up until we hit record, I kept going, all right, but we're not doing that today. So should I do the production for Blade? No.
Next time on Nerd On the Podcast.
Corey, for the 6th time, we're not doing that first. Right.
So
Blade.
So that being said, we're talking about state of play, state of the game, Back 4 Blood.
As it is in January of 2022.
Yes. So I feel like who wants to go first?
I feel like Josh needs to go first.
Yeah, talk
on
about
this and talk about your initial reaction and like what this game meant and has done for you.
Yeah, I say it jokingly, but it's like, you merely adopted Back 4 Blood.
Yeah.
I was built by it.
Here's the thing. I thought I was going to be the one who was the most excited. Like when we were
I
doing
did too. I got it for you.
Yeah.
all the updates.
Yeah.
Like we saw the announcement during one of the E3s, and I remember you being so excited, and that's what kind of spurned us playing Left 4 Dead a little bit within Nerd On, and that was my first experience with that kind of game, Left 4 Dead. I didn't experience it when it was out, so it was just with you guys, and so when this was announced and you were all hot and bothered by it, I was like,
I still am, but you took it to 11.
I was hot and bothered because you were, and I was like, oh, this will be something that we can play together. And then my friends that I play Fallout 76 has kind of lost its glimmer a little bit, kind of boring. And we were like, oh man, what's our next game that we're going to play together? And Peach, shout out, was like, oh, we should do Back 4 Blood. So we played the beta, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Beta was out in like August. And then this came out in October, and yeah, I did not expect to just like fall into this game and have so much fun doing
And
it.
Yeah.
fall out of 76.
Yeah, and fall out
Oh,
of Fallout
right?
76.
Right?
I'm very proud of you on that one. That's
Yeah.
very good.
I have only opened Fallout 76 maybe a couple of times over the past
Just to
couple
get
of months.
daily logins.
I uninstalled it.
Oh.
Ooh.
I never had it.
It's such a memory suck. It's like 86
of the
gigs,
memory
87
vampire?
gigs,
It's a lot.
something like that. So I was like, Halo's here and Back for Blood. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Go with love.
I did that thing, where you just kind of like take it, in I Am Legend with the dog. I'm sorry.
So now
Got
I'm
really
like
dark.
really quickly. So now I'm 260 hours
Nice.
in. I've completed all of the supply lines and just working on burn cards. But I really enjoy it because it's not the same every time.
Mm-hmm.
The maps are the same in a sense where if you're playing the campaign and you play through it, yeah, you're like, oh, this map again, but different, or even just like, oh, okay, you play this level how many different times on different difficulties, but it's like I can play Act 1 on Nightmare, but it's still going to be different. You're going to get different corruption cards, and I don't know, did we want to do a rundown in just a second of how the game works?
Probably we'll do that during like the brief.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
We're so out of order.
Yeah,
and it's
we are,
awesome.
baby.
It's awesome. We just wanted to get into talking about the game. But yeah, and it's also it's brought me together like with my cousin. We hadn't played video games since PS2 Champions of Norath.
Wow.
And he got this on it was on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh,
That's
I
how
saw
I
you
got
were
it.
playing this." And it's become basically, if not nightly, every couple of nights we'll play for a few hours.
Yeah.
And our team, like,
I'm in that Discord. I gotta
Yeah.
hop on it though.
I'm in that Discord.
So that means you should get on that Discord.
Yeah.
listeners.
I had a thought and then I lost
sorry.
it. No, it's cool.
You guys play
go.
every other week.
Oh, I mean, we play every other day, probably
yeah.
even more. And it's just like our team is really good.
Yeah.
Like when I play quick play
I'm scared.
and I play with randos, I'm like, oh
Y'all
no.
suck.
I'm scared to play with you guys at this
Oh
point.
no.
Well, that's why everyone hates Rando Calrissian.
Yeah.
Rando Calrissian. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. We can get more into like the
Nitty-gritty.
hows
Yeah,
and
let's just-
nitty gritties. Let's just first impressions.
So for me, like Josh said, I am a huge Left 4 Dead player. I've been playing it for years and years and years. When Left 4 Dead 2 came out, I had a small like house party with two friends and my dad, and we like ran through the whole game, every scenario in the first night.
Nice.
Just had a blast. My dad's been playing it for 10 years since it came out, whatever.
Yeah.
He keeps the
I mean,
servers
they
going.
still have updates here.
They
and
still
there,
have
don't they?
updates. He's playing on the Xbox. I when this was announced and that it was, I've wanted Left 4 Dead 3 for years and years and years and years. And I tried to fill that void with like Dead Island and stuff like that. And then Dead Island 2 got canceled. Anyway, nothing ever really hit the same as Left 4 Dead, and especially Left 4 Dead 2. So when this was announced by the same studio, them saying like, this is essentially what we've wanted to make for years and years, and we're finally getting to do it. I was pumped. I was hooked. Played the beta as well, fell in love with it. Now
Because
Josh
it was
is
cool in theory. Leading up, you're like, oh, this sounds
card
really cool.
game. Like you can also play without the cards if you just want to go through a run. So like they got a little something for everybody, but the card builder, which I thought was going to be much more of a like background thing for me, has become such a focus, and we'll get into that mechanic here. But it fills that same void of like hopping on with a few friends, killing some zombies, and having just a shit ton of fun doing it. I think a lot of the mechanics and the big set pieces that they came out with within the acts are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of big payoff,
Pure chaos.
in infinite replayability, and just a lot of the like, oh fuck, this is hard kind of moments as well, which is also refreshing because I never really had that in Left 4 Dead. Once you get to a certain skill level in Left 4 Dead, it's like, all right, well, this is a kind of a cakewalk.
Yeah.
If you have the right players, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I have this both on my PC and Xbox, just ready to go. And it's fun. It's super, super fun.
For me, I played Left 4 Dead first on Xbox, and I played at a friend's place, and I was like, whoa. Again, I've said before, Xbox felt like the adult console.
Sure.
And seeing the Valve symbol, I was like, oh my God. Like, was it Valve? Or
With the thing on the back of his head? Yeah, the Valve on his head.
I was like, oh, this is dark, demented shit. And and then we played a little bit, and then I think I played a little bit more Left 4 Dead 2 when that came out, and then I remember like just injections of adrenaline and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I remember that that was like big moments for me. Obviously, new crew and Left 4 Dead 2 and all that stuff.
The scenery in Left 4 Dead 2 was also, and not that this is that episode, but it's a huge upgrade. I mean, the New Orleans and stuff like that was a fun setting.
I think we did a Left 4 Dead episode.
We did.
Halloween, yeah. So coming here and I think obviously I heard about it only because of you two. Of Back 4 Blood, and it was like the
You're
whole
welcome.
same developers and all that stuff. And I mean, during the shutdown of 2020, 2021, and all that stuff. At this point, some of my friends, I built a PC, and then some of my friends were like, "Hey, let's play Left 4 Dead," and I was like, "That old game? Sure." They're like, "Yeah, it's fun." And then I realized like, this is a really fun game to play with other people because it's fast paced combat, and you just run through a place. You get you get new guns and all that stuff, and you're just fighting, hordes of zombies and then running to the next place.
Mm-hmm.
And so hearing about Back 4 Blood coming into it, I was really excited. Playing it, I played like 1 hour of the beta with Josh, and I was just had a really busy schedule. And I've played it since, and because of Josh, I have now completed the full game on Recruit.
Yep.
The lowest difficulty, because I was like, I don't really want to play with other people. It's one of those games that like you can play with other people, randos online, but it's kind of like
same as you. I'm like, I really just want to play with people I know.
Well, like the fun thing for me, it's like, if I play with someone who's really skilled, who's going to carry us through the way, it's like, sure, you get that, like, I'm getting achievements, I'm getting skill points and all that stuff, or supply points, but it's kind of like, I don't know what they're doing, I don't know where they're going. I remember my friend and I, Ian, we like loaded into like Act 3, and it was that place with all the tents and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh, Road to Hell.
And we were just like, I don't know where to go because we've never been here before. And then they're all the way up front with all the cages and all that stuff. And we're like, for like 10 minutes, we're just like trying to find where to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fun.
No,
No, it is not.
So, obviously, I really liked the cleaners. I really liked I was like, ooh, who am I going to play with? I always play as like Francis or something like that. And in Left 4 Dead, or Coach in Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah.
Because I like, the big guys. But here I was playing with Mom all the time. So it was like really just like,
Which is
okay.
fun.
It's the one with the shotgun. I always like the one with the shotgun. I was like, yeah, if it gave me a character with a shotgun, I'm playing as them. And so it really scratches that itch of like, okay, cool. I'm, shooting zombies and having fun with people I'm playing with. I like the in-game voice chat.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah.
Having Discord.
It's actually an in-game chat that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, especially and we'll get, I mean, this is something, obviously, if you've listened to our show ever, I'm very excited about crossplay.
Oh my gosh.
And how well it works.
Yeah.
And everybody wins.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
Yeah. So, it's a fun game. There are some things I wish were a little different in there, but we'll talk about that later.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
So
that's that.
Yeah, we'll move into we're not rating this episode, this game. It's still got updates coming out to it. We might create like a recommendation or something like that.
Yeah.
But
this is a very free-form episode. It's more of a conversation about everything. For those of you who don't know what Back 4 Blood, I almost said Left 4 Dead. Back 4 Blood it is a cooperative. I guess it has a multiplayer aspect too, where you can play as the Ridden. But for the base game, it is a cooperative horde shooter, first-person shooter. Survival game, where it also has a deck building element in it, which I kind of want to dive into in a minute here.
Definitely.
Which was a total game, like no pun intended, game changer to a degree that I did not foresee. But real quick, I want to know, you said Ma is your main, essentially. Mom. Main?
Oh, it depends on what I'm running.
Okay.
I mean, my main right now is the Hoff.
Okay.
But for a long time, it was Jim.
Oh,
Jim. Yeah.
And then I switched to Walker for a bit, and then I really wanted to go Boom, so I brought the Hoff.
You got the Hoff.
Yeah, we can talk about some
Fun
decks.
fact, voice actor of Rigby in regular show.
Oh, nice.
Maybe I might have that in the notes.
Okay. Mine's Walker all day.
Yeah.
All day. And I got to say something I'm very excited about is that for the Game Pass players out there, they allowed us to download the armor set for free. The
no respect
hardcore one.
No respect.
And it made my day because I remember the first weekend.
The one that was like a pre-order exclusive?
It was the one that was the ultimate, included in the ultimate edition.
Yeah.
so
battle hardened.
The battle hardened. And I remember the first weekend I told Josh, I was like, it's the only armor I want and I'll never get it. And a week later they were like, you have a week to download this. And I was like, I'm in it. I got
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
All right. So yeah,
So-
Tom, take us away.
We'll do some of the production about it, just so if anyone who wants to know about it. The publishing company for the game was Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment. They gave us such games as Friends, the one with all the trivia, the Batman Arkham series, and all of the Lego games. The developing company is Turtle Rock Studios. Who's worked on such things as the Counter-Strike Xbox port, Left 4 Dead, and Evolve.
Evolve is fun.
The director for the game is Phil Robb, who has worked on such things as Evolve and Command and Conquer and Red Alert 2, Left 4 Dead, and designer Chris Ashton. The number in the series is just 1. It's just the 1 in this game. There's no Back 4 Blood 2 yet. There's no notable franchise really, but again, it is a sole successor of Left 4 Dead. The original release date is October 12th, 2021. And the cast. So I'm going to go based off the cleaners. There are a bunch of other voice actors in there. But Carly is played by Abby Trott, who's worked on such things as Shaman King, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Hunter x Hunter. Evangelo is played by Alan Ayala from Del Playa, Follow Me. Jim is played by Andre Sogluizu from You Got Mail, Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, and the Polar Express. Mom is played by Barbara Crampton from Reanimator, You're Next, and We Are Still Here. Holly is played by Danielle Judovitz from Toy Story, Sailor Moon, Crystal, The Batman. Doc is played by Michelle Wong from Abominable, ER, Call of Duty, World War II. Walker is played by William Christopher Stevens from Yasuke. Yasuke. The Final Fantasy VII Remake and Mortal Kombat 7. Hoffman is played by William Sailors, who's from Spider-Man, Regular Show, and Bedazzled.
And Mass Effect. He plays Modin.
I never played Mass Effect.
Because have either of you played Mass Effect too?
No.
Mass Effect? Oh man, he has this wonderful. Okay, you're a musical theater guy. He does a version of I am the very what is it?
Very best, like no
I
one
am
ever
the
was.
very something of a modern major general, but he changes it to I am the very something of a scientist Solarian, and he does an entire verse where they changed it to be his species and his profession, and it went over so many people's heads, but there was a small niche group of musical theater people playing Mass Effect 2 who lost their shit. I'm gonna remind me to show you after the show because you'll fucking love it. But he's very talented. He plays 2 of like my favorite characters in the zeitgeist of voiceover. So fun. Rigby and Mordecai. I mean, I loved Regular Show, so finding out that
I love Regular Show.
He played Rigby, which is such a different voice than Hoff. Was amazing to me.
It's very similar to his Doc Ock.
Yeah. Oh.
He's Doc Ock in Spider-Man.
Got it. And then Morden? I can't remember right now. Scientist Solarian from Mass Effect 2 was one of my main guys that I had on my team the entire time. And it's another one of those like high-pitched voices. So anyway, very exciting to me that he was in this game.
So just kind of a little bit of a rundown of the game. Just kind of like like you said, it's a campaign-based zombie survivalist first-person shooter game that has this really interesting system of deck building. There's 4 acts. The 4th act is basically a boss. It is a boss fight. But you move through the acts at various difficulties.
And,
There's
and
recruit.
Each act has like a node, and that's the level. And some acts are longer than other acts.
Yeah. So it's like you have like Act 1. I'll say scene 7, where it's just like you're moving through, and then each act ends with like a mega thing. It sucks.
And like if you remember back, Left 4 Dead, it was based on movies, so it was Act 1, 2, and 3. As there was.
So their whole system, they called it the director system, and so there is an AI that literally works and sees if the players are kind of stagnating at one point or they're spread apart, they'll punish you because it's very homage to George A. Romero's zombie films. Where this one
would learn you.
This one would kind of do similar things, but
and you move it. The replayability comes in at different difficulties: playthrough, recruit, veteran, nightmare, and
the cards.
The cards,
curse cards, not curse cards.
The corruption cards change, and so the reason why it's so replayable is that, like I was saying in my just first impressions, is that the replayability comes in that you can play an act and like get hardly any corruption cards and then play it again and just the game
Get
goes,
all of them.
fuck me?
Yeah,
Fuck you.
I remember we were playing something like Act 2, and we had like 2 or 3 here and there, and we got partway through Act 3, and it was like 9 different corruption cards, and we were like, what the? Like we had to scroll to read the rest of
Yeah.
them, and I was like,
Yeah,
what is
and
happening?
Corruption cards, what those are is basically it's something bad for the level, or it's like this is a challenge for the level, like finish it within this time, or just end the level
the
with
same
everybody
example.
alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then there's like stronger thing. Like you can even pull a corruption card where it's a boss mutation, and the bosses they're the strongest, the strong ones.
oh yeah. You gotta
Um,
love the type. This happened the other night. I was playing with my dad, and we got to the one where you start uphill and you come down and you open the big gate to get into the town.
Yeah.
And our buddy, shout out Minxie Bops, goes, oh, I'm gonna take, before we start this level, I'm gonna take a leak real quick. So he opened the gate and he's like, I'll be right back. And as soon as he opened the gate, ogre pops up.
Don't
So-
pre-open the door unless you're
Yep.
So
You
for
ready.
those who
Yep.
haven't played the game, the zombies in here are called the Ridden. The mutations are the big boys. So
yes.
there are
and then the bigger boys are boss mutations.
yes. So you know,
Ogre is a 40-foot tall amalgamation.
it
of-
looks like a Rancor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's pretty good description, actually.
yeah, that's how I saw it the entire time. So like if you're familiar with Left 4 Dead, there was the witch, there was the tank, there was the smoker. Here there's different
Spitter.
things. There's like big boy.
Well, there's the tall boy,
Tall
the
boy.
wretches, and the hawker.
They all have like 2 or 3 names too.
yeah,
yeah.
and then there's like the signal, the snitch.
The
There's a snitch
Snitch.
there
and
and
sleepers.
sleepers that are on the walls.
I still unfortunately call them all by the Left 4 Dead names. So like the big guys who explode, I call them boomers still. I'm like, oh shit, boomer coming down the hallway. But I'm also talking to 4 other people who've been playing Left 4 Dead
Yeah.
for 10 years.
Language
they
is
know.
working.
We'll get there.
Some of the bosses, so the ogre we mentioned, one of them is the hag,
The hag.
and then another one is
Breaker.
the breaker. That's like a pretty
Breaker,
much,
yeah.
pretty much a tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
yeah.
Sucks.
Although we do call the tall boy, we call him Tall Johns.
Johns.
yeah.
So
I don't know.
the special ridden mutations, they can come every once in a while, but like Josh was saying, sometimes a corruption card where like a boss will show up, which is really, really tough. And the hag is very much the equivalent of a witch where you can hear it from afar. But the thing is,
God.
witches you find them, hags find you.
The first time, I want to talk about the hag for a second, because the very first time we fought it was on Recruit, and we did that thing where we just shot it and it like dug underground, right? And we're like, oh, that wasn't too bad. And we get partway through that same
The
level,
game went, fuck me.
and it showed back up, and we're like, oh, we got this. Start shooting it. I get knocked by another zombie. I get knocked down next to the hag, and it ate me.
Yeah.
And we
then
didn't
it
know
runs away and buries itself, and you're like, what?
We didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So I start freaking out. I think it was even on one of our streams, and I was like, "It's eating me! It's eating me!" And Dustin's like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" And then he like looked down. He's like, "Oh my god!" And he saw like my legs kicking out of its mouth. He's like, "Oh, it like swallowed you whole." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Where
Yeah.
are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm dead." That was it.
We developed this rule. We have a few rules, but the like number one rule is at no point in time while you are on the playing field are you allowed to say anything positive about our performance on the game, because the game will go, RNGbus is listening and will go, oh, you think you're good?
What about like nice shot? Can you say that? Like, oh, nice
No.
shot.
No.
No.
Oh.
No positive reinforcement.
Because the ridden will just develop bullet time and dodge.
That's
I was like, that's harsh.
no, we will be like, oh, nice.
Nice.
But we can't be like, man, that was smoother than we thought it would be.
Oh yeah, no.
How's
No,
10 corruption cards?
That's looking a gift horse. in the mouth.
It's mid-level, because you'll be going through and you're like, you'll get like 75% through the level and you're like,
This was a cakewalk.
this is easy. Nightmare. What's everybody talking about in the game's like, it feels like that.
Oh,
yeah.
2 ogres.
Yeah.
Crows? I heard you want all of them.
Something I want to talk about in this game that they introduced that wasn't so much in the Left 4 Dead series is weak spots.
Mm-hmm.
This is a new piece of little information or tactics or whatever you want to call it. Every boss or mutation has what's called weak spots, and you do extra damage to hitting those spots. It's not a new mechanic within gaming at all, but it is a new mechanic for this type of game. Usually with a boss mechanic that has weak spots, right? It's usually pretty stagnant,
Yeah.
or it's like one spot. These ones will have 3 or 4 different spots that are usually pretty hard to hit, especially on the boss mutations.
Yeah.
And they'll change places as well. So like you
Depending
could
on
be
the type,
fighting a
yeah.
tall John and it could have a weak spot on its head, or it could have a weak spot on its neck or
If
its
it's a
shoulder.
Head, if it's a head spot, it's a crusher. If it's a arm spot, it is the Smashy Boys.
Yeah.
Smasher.
Smashers.
Yeah.
And there's Dasher and Prancer.
Donner,
Yeah.
and Vixen.
So it keeps you on your toes for sure, because you're trying to find where that spot is. And there are, much like corruption cards, you have your deck, which is like if the game gets its own buffs from corruption cards, you get yours from your cleaner deck. And Josh, I know you had a weak spot build for a while.
Yeah.
So there's certain cards that gave you extra damage to
Well, yeah,
the
because
weak spots.
Yeah, so I mean, there's multi levels to, and this game has a new concept for me that you introduced to me during Diablo was this idea of builds.
Yes.
Builds. And this game is, if you do not, I was just like, just play the fucking game. Like Fallout 76, when I first started, I would run into these veteran players that were like, oh, what's your build? What's your build? And I was like, I don't fucking know, man. I just want to play the game. But this game, if you don't have a build, it's really like you're actually
Fine on
kind of
recruit, but
you're kind of messing the whole team up, because it's also important, like builds will also synergy, but also each person should, I think, maybe hot take, focus on one gun. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to take this AR because it's here. No, only pick up ARs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Only pick up shotguns if that's what you are. Because there's ammo, and it's just really nice to be like in a safe spot and be like, okay, I need shotgun. Cool. We all have 200 shotgun rounds that we can drop just in case.
Right.
But also, each cleaner has their own pluses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know all of them, but like Walker has 10% weak spot damage. Or no, Jim has 10% weak spot damage.
For the whole team.
For the whole team.
They get their own bonus to themselves and a team bonus.
Yeah.
So like Moms is an extra support item, and then also I can instantly revive somebody once.
Yeah.
And the whole team gets an extra life. That's your team bonus.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so then what you do is that you take that into mind when you're building your deck. And your deck consists of 15 cards, and this is what they don't tell you. It works top down.
Yes.
So I didn't know that, and then Josh and Corey had to tell me. It's like I was like, "Why is it? What? Can you give me the card I put in like last?" Like, no, Tom, that's gonna come in last.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's
Josh and I actually figured that out before like it was posted online, which was kind of nice. We did some like separately. We did our
I have
own
to give
testing.
credit. Yeah, I have to give credit to PJ, because I was like, man, it's not
Shout out
like
to PJ.
Oh,
shout out to PJ.
I was the PJ of my group.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, I mean, it was within the first week where it was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is top down. So then you have to bear in mind, so you're building your deck, and the deck cards are anything from 50% accuracy to 50%
reload speed.
Yeah, exactly. And
Gain health for every time you shoot somebody.
and some of the cards are just really dope, and some of them are like, they're dope, but they come with a
cost,
negative.
which sometimes is fine. Like I had an entire shotgun build where most of the negatives on my cards were I couldn't do aim down sights.
Yeah,
But
but it's a shotgun.
it's first of all, it's a shotgun, and I was doing so much damage, and I was firing so quickly, and I had a swap reload, so it was just like never stopping.
There's a shotgun build that's basically known as like laser shotgun, and basically the accuracy is like when you aim down the sight, the crosshair is just like a dot.
It's just a dot.
Because the way that your accuracy works is that you see the crosshair, and it's like your accuracy, you can see like, oh, the crosshair is like this.
Super wide.
But when
for those
you
of you
get it
listening.
down, it's basically like a pin. And
like a
you're
laser pointer.
Where you're shooting, that's where
All
it's
of
going.
the bullets are going that way.
Yeah.
So, you
Instead of a pellet, it becomes back into one.
Yeah. It explodes and then
comes
Yeah.
back.
But you get all the damage
temporal
for all
pincer
those.
move.
Yeah.
It's some wantage.
It's a lot of fun. Like, so like you said, having everyone have their own things, and like having multiple builds for any situation is great. So like when I first started playing, I focused on shotguns. That was like, I love a good shotgun. But then I played with Tom, and Tom was like, I got a shotgun build. So I was like, shit, I should have a backup. So now I think I have 3 for now. Definitely want to build more as I unlock more cards. But I have a shotgun build. I have a light machine gun build, which is for Walker is a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
And then I have a gold and light machine gun build. So if no one else in my team is really picking up these gold ones, what
You're
we do
the
is
economy.
I'm the guy. So
I am the one who
am I
moneys.
doing the most damage? No, but every round I'm buying both team upgrades.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's really helpful. So the team upgrades. So
that's the shop is a whole new system
so
as well.
in normal Left 4 Dead, right, you find ammo and stuff like that when you first spawn into like a safe house, and that's typically every checkpoint in the nodes in the axe.
Yeah, and they'll have like a table where there's guns and ammo.
Yeah, sometimes there's new guns, sometimes there's ammo, sometimes there's
It's
first
like
aid
the lobby
kits.
of each level of like
Absolutely.
this is where we're making the choices of like, hey, get 2 toolkits, get this, and there is a shop box.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it will have things that are always there, which are the items like a toolkit, grenades, ammo.
My favorite, the pipe bomb.
My favorite, buy your health.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Right, fair.
This is
I meant the items though.
Yeah.
This is a little different than anyone who's familiar with Left 4 Dead because you have to buy all those things. You have to buy ammo, you have to buy health
copper.
and all that stuff with copper you find throughout the level, the level you had. And so some of the cards that you find are like at the beginning of every safe house, you have 15% more or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can do also, I think there's other copper based ones that are like you can get more.
So the
of
big
it.
team upgrade ones are like your entire team can hold an extra grenade. Your entire team can hold an extra health kit, or your grenades or health kits or quick items are improved to a certain amount.
So you'll see like they'll be white, then green, then blue, and then purple.
With my current deck, we always, which is I call Big Bada Boom. We always are like, should we get the offensive item? I know it's offensive, but we just go, should we get the offensive item?
It's offensive.
It's offensive. It's
We also have, but there's also different ways to play this, right? So like my buddy Minxie, again, I'm going to reference him, has a healing build. He's the
Doc.
team medic. Yeah. He plays as Doc, and his entire build is like when we need to heal, we're dropping our healing items, and he's patching us up.
kids at home, if you see a Doc in your team,
Thank them.
you thank them. Do not heal yourself.
No.
I will. This is where I get. That is another rule. You are not ever, unless
Emergency situation. Yep.
situation, allowed to heal yourself. Because here's the thing. If you have a Doc in your team and their deck is stacked, they can probably heal you 100% and
With a
heal
bandage.
themselves.
Yeah.
And heal themselves.
Yeah.
And heal your trauma. So
we were doing tests on it just to like see how his deck was doing. So we loaded into one of our games, like with the intention of just like wasting some shit without save, like seeing how we do. And he was like,
for
"All right,
science.
you heal yourself with your med pack, and then we're gonna try this again. And I'm gonna heal you with just a bandage." And it was double what I was doing with a health pack.
Yeah.
With a bandage, which is like, for those who don't know, the bandage is usually like the quick, but non-efficient, but very quick and in the moment kind of heal. You use a bandage because you're like, I need a little bit of health.
But depending on your healing efficiency, it could be
It's through the roof. Through the roof.
Yeah.
Depending
on
So
your deck.
I'm usually the support guy in this, but I got to give it to Minxie. He's really built an amazing deck where he's in the heat of battle too. He's just like, let me patch you up real quick. And I'm like, oh, this is nice.
And then everyone's like, oh, you patched me up too.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive that the style of play that they've allowed you to have within this game.
And so, I mean, there is that one thing that is different from like Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead, you can pick any character and do any gun and all that stuff. There's no builds here. It allows specificity builds, as you were saying. Like for me in particular, like playing with Mom, and she starts out with a shotgun. I have a build that like pretty much is like you're gonna shoot really hard. Like that's pretty much like I just call it like the shotgun grenade.
This one hurts.
Yeah, it just hurts a lot, and it really kind of takes advantage of the reload speed. So you're pretty much shooting like machine gun speed. With your shotgun, and if you're reloading fast enough, you're getting double.
You're basically never running out of ammo. I know
in the build, like you have unlimited ammo, your reload speed, all the cards are like jacked up through the roof.
Yeah.
And then also when you're shooting, it's like hurting so much more, so much more. So there's things you could do like that, or you could just do all armor. So it's like you just have so much resistance, all that, but you're probably gonna be a lot slower.
I mean so like because you asked me originally, like with Jim, the sniper builds. I mean, and that's the thing is like at first
That's
I was
a sensitive one, man. That is a tough one to his ability.
Yeah, it is a very.
What's Jim's
but
ability?
Here's Jim's ability is that you get a 2% damage boost. As long as you don't get hit, it'll keep building. Every death, every kill you get builds 2.5%, up to 20%.
Yeah, 20%.
And
but as soon as you get hit,
it's gone.
Gone.
And so
you gotta build it back up.
When you start with Jim, what's cool is you learn how to stay away from bitches. You're like, cool. You're trying
your
not
awareness
to get
is
hit.
slippery.
Point.
You're slippery.
Yeah, right.
but not really, because things will hurt. But it's interesting to start with that because you are learning the skill of not getting hit. But with Jim, like I focused a lot on weak spot damage. My deck was just like when I hit,
and
it
it's
hurts.
usually your team too. Usually, it's a lot for you, but there are some weak spot. Your team does X amount of damage to weak spots.
Yeah, but I mean, your deck. I mean, specifically, like at one point, my weak spot damage was like 200% or something silly, and it's just like
plus your 20% on top of that.
Yeah, so it's just like there's a lot of damage that can be done by Jim. I mean, with Walker, I'm usually focusing on if I am playing Walker, it's like ARs. And like those other type guns, LMGs.
Light machine gun with Walker, to me, like I said, I'm usually a shotgun guy. But Tom, with your build being shotguns, and now Minxie being the healer, he does shotguns too, just so he can, like, when things get close, he just as Doc. So I focus on light machine gun, and like there are some really cool cards that you don't think would be very helpful until you use them in practice, which is what I really like about this game. Is like there are hundreds of cards for you to build kind of whatever you want from and really play around with. And like, yes, you can follow a build guide, but you also have the room to make it your own.
Yeah.
So like the card that I really love, and I usually put high up on my list when I'm doing my light machine gun build, is there's one that's aim down sights. And if you aim down sights for 3 seconds, every second you're aiming down sights, you get stacks of damage. And with the light machine gun, I'm usually always aiming down the sights anyway to try to keep that recoil. Yeah. So the basically, the more I'm firing my gun the way I do, the more damage I build. Yeah. And with Walker's 10% on top of that, it's crazy. So it really allows you to, like, and this is the advice I would give everyone, is like, try it out, find how you play, and then find those decks that accompany that, and you're gonna have the best time. Obviously, build out from there once you get a feel of the game and you want to try something new. But really, like, focus on, like, okay, what am I doing a lot? I'm aiming down my sights a lot. Cool. I'm gonna put that in my deck.
This is the first time that I ever felt like, no, the second time, because Fallout, I was like, I kind of know what I'm doing. I kind of know how I'm making my build. There's a lot more nuance with this. But this was one of the first times that I was like, I could look at somebody like a YouTuber that you watch play and you're like, damn, you're good.
Yeah.
And look at their decks and go, okay, cool. I'm going to build that. I'm going to play it. But then I'm going to play this and I'm going to play this. One of the most, I feel like it's a sickness. But
are you down
this
with
card, and I'm down with the sickness. This card, I think, is like one of the most invaluable cards, and it's such a silly card. But if you look at my deck list, it is at the top of every single one, and it is the combat knife.
Oh yeah, every deck should have the combat knife in it. I don't care what you're running. One hit kill. It's a one hit punch.
It's a one hit punch in all the common. And here's the thing. And shout out to Swing Point, one of the best YouTubers for Back 4 Blood content. He said in one of his videos, if you're not good at punching, you're not good at this game.
Yeah.
Because in a really horrible situation, sometimes all you have is punch. Because also the really cool, interesting thing, again, the game does not tell you, is that if you're reloading and you're in the thick of it, if you punch, it's not going to stop reloading. So get good at punching.
It's not because in every, I'd say 99.99% of other games, if you're reloading and you punch, you're going to have to restart your reload. But this is not one of those games. It does not interrupt your reload to do melee damage.
That messed me up a lot during Halo multiplayer. Because I was so used to Left 4 Dead, like, I'm just going to punch my way out of it. And then everyone's like, why don't you use your gun? And I'm like, but punch.
No.
But punching.
Punch is the last ditch effort in Halo.
That's my first.
But like punching without the combat knife is just like a stumble. They go away unless you have melee cards that support the punch being stronger. But with combat knife, it's always at the top of my deck. That might be a poor decision. Like other things might be better up front. But combat knife, I just know that I'm starting with that. And if I get in the thick of it, I'm killing commons that are around me. And sometimes you can punch with the combat knife, stab with it, and kill 2 or 3 with one hit. And you're like, okay, cool. I'm okay. I'm fine.
Especially if you're straggling in the back and trying to catch up to the rest of your team. God. And then that one just hits you. Like,
man. I want to talk real quick. I'm going to shift to, I want to get to a few different things before we end this episode here. What was the mutation that caught you the most off, coming from Left 4 Dead at least, that you were like, oh, damn, that's a good idea for a mutation, for a zombie? For me, it was the sleepers. Those ones, to this day, will catch me. There's at least one run. At least one will oh shit, I didn't see it there, or I didn't think it could jump that far.
So for people listening, sleepers are these wall
Cocoon type weird like
things, and they
Jump
just
and tackle
jump
you.
at you from across the
Yeah.
room.
and they
If you
suck.
they're pretty much trip mines. They're zombie
Yeah.
trip mines. So
Yeah.
if you walk by them, you're going to get tackled by them.
In
And-
Nightmare, they call a horde. It's fun.
oh,
And the thing that gets me the most with them, at least on trying to play through veteran, is like what I'm learning is that sometimes you'll see one on a wall and you're like, I got you, and you get it, but what you don't realize is on the wall
Behind
opposite you, there's another one.
yeah.
Or an alarm door.
Yeah.
You're like, I got that. No!
The alarm doors are good too.
I would say for me, I really liked the ogre. I
Mhm.
really liked just like, oh, there's just a big dude. You gotta shoot him down and all that stuff. But it's Josh taught me the other night. It's very much like Resident Evil. If it doesn't really help you, just avoid it. And you're like,
Yeah.
but I want to shoot
These
it.
this is one of those games that you kind of learn, especially like with snitches. I like snitches. They're interesting
Yeah.
because they'll keep you on your toes because you're also trying to figure out like, okay, what is actually going to destroy this thing? Because some of them, it's better just to,
Avoid 'em.
there's the white ball ones
Mhm.
and then there's the red ball ones. If they have red balls, doesn't matter what you do. If you kill it, it's going to call a horde. Whereas the white balls, if you call it, it won't alert anything.
If you kill it quick enough.
If
yeah.
you kill it quick
Oh.
enough,
Hit those weak
um,
spots.
which is its neck,
Yeah.
which is nice, but make sure that you can handle it.
Yeah.
But this is another first game where it was like, you don't have to kill everything.
Right.
You might even actually behoove you just to get through this area and not alert anything
Yeah.
and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But
Birds, car alarms, door alarms. There's so many things that can call. Birds are the ones that usually we don't know are somewhere, and we'll throw a grenade or something, and it'll be like,
That's
Daniel
why-
alerted the birds, and I was like, God damn it.
that's why another like rule-esque is that mark things.
We mark them,
yeah.
but it just every once in a while there's the one where you're
Well, there's
like,
also visual glitches where we have found that there is a visual glitch, especially with birds, where one player won't see them on
oh,
their screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
And everybody's like, we marked it. There were birds there. It was not on my screen.
not here.
Yeah, not here.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I wanted to have a little bit of a little info drop from Josh because he's dived in so much about this, but briefly talk about like all the updates because this episode we are kind of talking about state of the game.
I was just about to bring it there. I was like, speaking of glitches.
Yeah. So you've had so much more intimate experience playing the game and seeing the different updates and how it's changed how the gameplay is. And so for people who are listening now who are potentially interested into it, again, it was the best multiplayer game of 2021. So talk about
Yeah,
like the updates and
So, I mean, the game came out in October, and the thing that I will, bookending with positive, the thing that I will say is right now, the game is much better
Yeah.
than when it first
much
came
more
out.
better.
Much more better. And it's good because there was just a sale during the holidays that made it like 50% off, and there were a lot of new players.
Mm.
But when it first came out, there was, of course, there was the excitement in playing through it, but the game was much harder than anticipated.
Much more harder.
Even to the developers.
I was gonna say much harder than intended.
Yeah, much harder than intended. As you moved up in difficulty, the balance of difficulty was just unreal. It was like you would go from recruit to veteran, and you were like, I've made a huge mistake.
It was like if they only gave you two options, like story mode, which is
Yeah.
like everything was like, we're just walking through here.
everything will kill you.
And
mode.
then medium was just inferno. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, great.
It's like story
and-
mode and then fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it kind of became the kind of regular thing to just, I mean, at least what our team did was we got through recruit and we were like, cool, let's go to veteran. And we were like, cool. So we're going to play recruit some more and
Yep.
build up some cards.
Yep.
And it's great to start the game and play through recruit a lot and get all the really good cards. Like there are some really dope cards that you don't get until later in the supply points, supply lines.
Yeah.
And those are where you get your cards, most of them. Some you get that are just kind of built into the
Supply
game.
points are things earned by completing levels. And you can use those, and supply lines are where all the cards for your deck lie, and
Yeah.
customization options.
The harder the game, the harder the level, the more supply points you get.
Yeah.
Right.
Not always,
Not
but
always?
like, yeah, because there's some levels that are hard but short. And so people I'll talk about that during this. So it was hard. And it was like, oh man, that sucks. This is really hard. And everybody was complaining.
Yeah.
And come to find out kind of later on is that the developers were like, hey, so we found an error in the coding or whatever. I'm not a game developer, so I apologize. That the spawn rate of specials or mutations was way higher than it was supposed to be. It was basically, I almost want to call it compound interest, where it was just like they just kept spawning. And I took a screenshot of this moment that I was in, and
It
I
looked
sent
like a
it
mod.
to you. It was just, and it was a small room, but it was just like 2 reekers, 2 tall boys, hawkers, and you were just like, I've made a huge mistake. What have I done?
It was wild. I remember the first time I noticed it, we were playing the episode, the level where you have to like close all the mines.
Yeah.
And I remember we turned a corner and there were 4 tall boys and 4 of the boomers, and we're like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And then we killed them, and guess what showed up? 4 more of each, and we're like, "This is not something." Got to a point wrong.
It got to a point where we were just like, we just didn't want to play. Like it was just too like Let's see
if I can find that picture too. Like I want to use it in the episode.
There are funny mods and games you could do where you could just like, in Skyrim and make like, all right, I want to make 40 dragons show up.
Yeah.
It's like, it would look like that. It's like, this looks like a graphical error.
Yeah, there's healthy difficulty. I think it really is healthy to be pushed.
Hard but fair.
Yeah, hard but fair. So then the November update came out. And
it was supposed to fix.
Question mark? No, it made it worse. And it was just like it was a treacherous time, I think, because this game had just came out, and their player base dropped dramatically when this came out because it didn't make the mutation rate better. It made it worse. And it was just, and the other thing that was happening when the game first came out is that because it was so hard, players were like, fine, I'm going to cheese this.
Oh.
And they just built decks that were just
speed.
You were just like Speedy Gonzalez just going through this level, and you were done. And there were people that had nightmare achievements, but they didn't really play the game.
Yeah.
Like you can build a melee speed deck that is just ridiculous, but you're running straight to the safe room, and you're getting through bravo you. And so what the developers did was that they really they took down a lot of the speed cards, not took them away, but just didn't make them as good.
Nerfed them.
Yeah, they nerfed them. Thank you. I couldn't think of the phrase. And so it wasn't, and they nerfed some of the levels. And why I said that was that some of the levels that are like, if you're good at them, maybe they're like less than 4 minutes, you get through it.
70 supply points.
Yeah, you get so many supply points. So people were just like
farming
that level. And so they were like, fine, you get 20 supply points. Doesn't matter how good you do.
Jeez.
Go you.
Yeah.
So they did some nerfing that way. But the December the December update dropped and fixed a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Not saying that all of them are fixed.
Well, veteran's playable.
Yeah, veteran is playable. And even Nightmare, you're kind of like, this sucks. But if we put our heads together, we'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's still really hard. And I think there's still talk of some things being like, oh, okay. One of the current glitches is ghost bullets, which sucks. Especially if you think of it, like you pull the trigger and nothing happens.
Fun.
But it looks like your gun looks like it shoots, but nothing happens.
Nobody's getting hurt.
And apparently it's like it is actually a known thing. So January update looks like it's coming soon. Little visual glitches and stuff, but right now is like the time where it's like, hey, this is a really fun game to play with your friends.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm playing with my dad, which is like something we haven't got to do in a while because he was still playing Left 4 Dead, and I would hop on here and there. But honestly, with all the other games that were coming out year by year, I kind of let that one fall to the background because it's like I've done it so many times. But it was his, it's his like way to relax was playing this game. He had his own group of friends on there. But a lot of them, because they aren't willing to he got the Xbox One, and a lot of them aren't willing to get that and have stopped playing. He was losing that a little bit. And so I was like, oh, you know what? This is the perfect time to get. So for Christmas, I got him Back 4 Blood. And this past Tuesday, we played for the first time. And I know that like learning a new game when you've played, you're not a gamer all the time. You have your 1 or 2 games that you play, and learning a game, no matter how similar it is, there's a lot of changes from Left 4 Dead here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole deck mechanic. Mm-hmm. There's a whole new way of fighting hordes and doing missions and learning levels and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, mechanics, learning what does what.
Right. It's a high learning curve. So I know there was some trepidation going in, even on my end, where I was like, oh, man, I hope he likes it. I hope it's not too much of like, you know what, this is too much for me. But we had a blast, man. And it goes back to what Tom was saying. It's just like when you can get a game where you could just get a group of friends together to play it, like no matter how hard it gets, you're still having fun.
I think of it like the kind of the Spartan mentality in a way where it's just like we're all going through the shit and we're just laughing through it.
Yeah.
Like it's just like embrace
Yeah.
the suck.
You're like, holy shit.
I had a deck called Embrace the Suck when the game was really hard. I was just like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to build these, put these cards in here, and that'll mitigate this in a way.
Sure.
I would say one thing that, and I talked about this, like one thing I still have reservations about. It doesn't feel as fast paced as Left 4 Dead, and that's the one thing that I kind of miss from it because, and that's the thing. It is a spiritual successor, but it is a new game. It's a different game. So if you're expecting it to be 1-for-1 for Left 4 Dead, you are going to be a little disappointed.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not like with Left 4 Dead, you just blast through, shooting shotgun rounds and walking through. And all that stuff.
Again, as a outside looking in, not a lot of experience. Like Left 4 Dead forced that onto you, where it was just like
there are times it felt like because there was times where like I think in Back 4 Blood I played, it's like, all right, hold up, let's just wait for a second, reload, do all this stuff. It's like that wasn't really a luxury you can have too much in Left 4 Dead. It was kind of like you had to just move on.
It punished you for staying still, and Left 4 Dead quite more than it still does in this one. They'll still throw the occasional mutation.
If you go back, things will spawn.
Yeah, but in Left 4 Dead, if you were standing around for more than 10 or 15 seconds, they would throw two specials at you, like a smoker or something like that.
But also, I feel like
there are also endless horde moments.
Yeah.
So like, there's an alarm on the other side of the bridge, and the horde will not stop. You have to keep moving until you get to the other side of the bridge to turn that alarm off.
Yeah.
I feel like also just what I experienced as well was like movement is a little slower. And
in this?
And Back 4 Blood. And like with Left 4 Dead, it was kind of like, oh, I gotta go run back and get a chainsaw. And it was like, cool.
Yeah.
Here it's like, should I go? It's so far.
Well,
like I feel
the
where
maps
the deck
are bigger.
building.
Yeah, and
It's not so much that the movement's slower; it's that the maps are more expansive.
But no, it's to the point where Josh's saying it's like also you want to make a speedier deck, and so again, that's the thing. Like with Left 4 Dead, it was like kind of like boot it up, play 20 minutes, you're out. Back 4 Blood, you kind of do get more invested into it because you do want to build up your deck so you can start playing through the game and then getting the cards every safe house.
Yeah,
and so it is kind of asking for more of an investment when you're playing with other people because everyone's setting up all their stuff and everything like that. Where Left 4 Dead was very go.
Yeah. The nice thing about it is it does save your progress, right? And I think they updated it now so you could have different saves. Before it was just the one per person, right?
No, I mean each player can have multiple, but it's like if I wanted to, like if I had a campaign that I was running, maybe just by myself and some bots. If my team joins me later, we can continue that campaign wherever I was.
And then I'll give him the appropriate amount of cards too.
Yeah. So like with my dad, he's not like a someone like me who I can sit for like 4 or 5 hours and play a game, right? So we had a few hours to play and he's like, I'm gonna head to bed. So we got through most of Act 1. But it's nice to know that like when we hop on again, probably this Tuesday, we can just pick up where we left off, which is not a thing for Left 4 Dead. That was not a thing.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing where like, everyone, listening, we've talked about Left 4 Dead and compared this to that a lot. Like this is a full-fledged different game. It has similar experiences, but you're going to be more invested in what player you're playing with, what guns you're using, what cards you're using, like how you're playing the game, what people you're playing with.
The unfortunate thing that I think is still a thing, and it's I don't remember the comparison as a thief of joy.
Yep.
Yeah. People refuse to, and that's why I don't want to use the phrase, but again, I shouldn't because I don't have a lot of experience with Left 4 Dead. It's just people just will not be like, this is not Left 4 Dead. This is terrible.
Yeah, they'll just drop it.
This is a piece of shit game.
They won't embrace.
It doesn't have this. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have this. Why did you even make this?
Left 4 Dead, man. It isn't.
It's why did you?
Yeah, that's why it's not called Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah,
it's called Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, and so it's just to see a lot of like Reddit posts of just people popping into the main Back 4 Blood Discord server to say shitty things. It's just like, go fucking play those games.
Yeah.
No one barreled in and took the game away.
Yeah, nobody
the game's still there getting updates.
But it's
not
also
for everybody.
Yeah, and so it's like to talk about what you were just saying. It's like I think the game is what you make it because the game, our team likes to just go slow and to go room by room in a sense of like not. I mean, sometimes the best thing to do is you just run through. Because some stages are just like, nah, fuck that. I'm good. I don't need to deal with that.
Yeah, I gotta
Well,
play with you guys soon and get your way of playing.
And
'cause I'm
so-
just stuck at recruit and veteran.
You talked a little bit about it. Based on how well you play, like shots landed, not being downed or anything like that, will increase your supply points or no?
I mean, it depends on the level.
Okay,
But the supply points are pretty much per level. They have their own
set.
This is how much you're going to get for this level. But some of the challenges might get, you get 10 more.
Yeah, and
if
so
you do this challenge.
to that point, like, and there's that
Get the
thing
scene
too, right?
example.
Like, we're Left 4 Dead and other speedrunners, right? There's like, go, get through the game. We're like, Back 4 Blood kind of asks you to like, hey, play the game.
That's what they want you to do is
and
play the game.
It's like you're not meant to just speed run the game, throw it away. Like there's a lot of people who kind of have that mentality of like, I want to get through the game as fast as I can, which why did you spend $40, $50, $60 on a game just so you could play it as quickly as possible?
Right.
Like you want to get the most bang for your buck, so you might as well explore the world that they built
Yeah.
for you. And I think there's something about that with Back 4 Blood where like to me, the big thing for me of like, oh, I'm thinking of this game a little differently and playing this game differently than Left 4 Dead because supply points and I want better cards. I want, cosmetics. I want all this cool shit that like makes my character mine,
Mhm.
instead
Yeah.
of like,
Exactly.
here's this character, you're just acting as them and you go off.
Yeah.
There's a room for that, but this one
Literally
is
in Left 4 Dead, it said that it was like, tall down early as
frank.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, would it be okay if I did like a qualm?
Yeah, well, like I was gonna say, is there something that we all wish would be added to the game, or like a
I mean,
or fixed? Yeah, I'd
I
say
mean,
go for it.
overall, I would say that it's not so much the game; it's more so the way that the company handles updates.
Mm-hmm.
I think like it's a catch-22. It's a little bit of a balance because there is also the mentality of like, I don't want developers to be just like run into the ground,
Yeah.
but it's also like,
No one sets out to make a bad game.
yeah, but don't. I think that the handling of updates, again, not a developer. I don't know what goes into it. I don't know the complexity. Like when I used to work tech support and it'd be a software issue, I'd be like, bro, there are literally millions of files that go into this operating system. I don't know what all those files
Yeah.
and lines of code are. I don't. And so it's like, I think that they handle their updates and fixing major issues way too slowly. And the way that they communicate about updates, like, it's like, hey, BT Dub, the update's coming out tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wait.
a little more transparency is what
A little
you'd
bit
like.
more transparency and
Even if
actually
they were-
fixing the issues.
Yeah. I mean, even if they're working on it, just being like, hey, we're aware of A, B, and C. To bring in Halo Infinite, which had a real rough launch with the same reason. The thing is that they've been communicative about everything. They're like, hey, we hear you on this, this, and this. It's going to be a while, due to the holidays or whatever, or due to, increased safety around COVID or whatever. But here's the things we're working on updating. They are coming.
Yeah, they do have like there is a Trello board that it sees like current issues, things that we're playing with, things that are in testing.
But those
Here's
are
what
I'm
coming.
talking about is like their official posts, either on forums, on Twitter, on
Yeah.
Facebook. Like a little more communication would go a long way.
Yeah, and maybe this is just my experience. Maybe and I think my team has said the same thing, where it's just like they're also, I think I mentioned earlier of like treading thin ice, because here's the thing: Dying Light is coming out in a couple of months.
Yeah.
It is multiplayer, co-op, crossplay.
Yeah.
Zombie survival game. Guys,
With a story.
yeah, with a story. So I would be super careful, especially when you see your player base drop over 50%. That should have been like, we got to fix this now.
Now.
We got to fix this because people are not playing our game.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so
and
it's-
again, there is that veil of us, the consumer, who like doesn't see past the walls of what they're doing. Like, are
Yeah,
they fixing
so
it as soon as they can? Maybe they are, but it's
and
like,
maybe they are working on it.
But
and
they're
it's
not
like,
communicating that.
so it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like they are doing it. They feel like
Yeah.
a little reactionary instead of proactive.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Like, and so there's two lines, right? There is the company shill thing of like, you know what? Glad that they updated the game, because there are people
Yeah.
who love to just publish unfinished games, and then it's like, cool, F you, there's $60, bye
We're going on
bye.
to our next game.
And then there's people who, constantly update the game and be like, we're going to make this better and better and better and better and better. And then, there's things where it's like, sadly, like, okay, cool. We're no more updates. No more updates for this game. We're working
Yeah.
on the next one. And you're like, oh, okay, that's how you feel. So no,
yeah.
I agree with that. My one thing I think is probably just, I like running a little faster. Just a little faster.
Put those speed cards
I
in
know,
there, baby.
I
Speed
know.
cards.
I guess I should find a new build out of not mom then.
Well, I mean, you could even just one of the cards that is move speed,
Yeah.
even if that's because you can build like a shotgun thing, and it's just like that is the thing. Like you learn like, man, you gotta learn sacrifice. Where you're like, I really like this card.
So I'm in the foxhole of like, okay, what, go to youtube.com, log in. What is best build for mom? It's like shotgun this. You're slow, but you're shooting like a machine gun with a shotgun, and you're getting a lot of damage out. I'm like, okay, but then finding the one that's right for me is
because that's what
journey.
you'll do. You'll build that build, and you'll be like, this is cool, but it doesn't have this.
It's the dominant game strategy that's messing me up in my brain. It's like, just do the dominant thing, just do the right thing.
Right.
And it's like,
no,
but it's not the thing
make
for
it
you.
your thing.
Meaning it's not going to be as efficient.
Like put one speed card at the top, and you'll notice a difference.
Yeah. When I used to play World of Warcraft all the time, the advice that was given to me was like, could you go for the best build of all time? Sure. But if you're not having fun playing it, you're not going to play it efficiently, because the entire time you're going, this sucks.
And
you're going to get frustrated. You're going to make mistakes. So it was like, do I take then the class that does a little bit less damage on the DPS charts,
but I'm having a lot of fun.
I'm having a lot of fun playing it? Yeah, because you'll take the time, you'll get better, you'll enjoy it, you'll learn the rotations, and you'll maximize that effort.
And back to Josh's learning of what builds are because of Diablo.
Yeah.
When we were playing together, I had to learn how to use like a blood elf needle one, and it just required me to never actually attack.
I hated corpse explosion.
Yeah, I hated it. I was just like, but this is what they call the best one. And then you run through, and then you just needles explode everywhere.
What you should have done is just found a build that worked for you.
Yeah, well, it's like
class.
Isn't that good?
like one of the things is like with sniper.
Mm-hmm.
You think you might think that you just go in there and you're using your sniper gun all the time. No, get a good rifle or a good handgun. That's your main. The sniper comes out when you got something in front of you that you can take out with one hit.
Yeah.
And you're the guy in the back. That's why Jim would be his thing of like you build up damage buffs by not getting hit.
Boss
because you're behind everybody and you're being like, oh, I see a tall boy. He's gone. And like you're helping your team forward. And so it's like these mind fucks that you're like, oh, I've got to really learn like all these
timing
and what's a good cohesive team, and like Melee's nuts.
Oh yeah, Carly, right?
I thought they nerfed it, but it's still nuts.
It's still fun.
Yeah. For me, my only thing I want added is the exact thing they're going to add with DLC, which is just more maps and cleaners. So I can't wait to see more cleaners. Actually, you know what? More customization.
Yeah.
That's what I want. There's a few good suits, right? There's a few, I think there's like, everyone has probably together with all the bits and pieces, probably like 7 different options, right?
Yeah.
You have the 3 outfits and then like 5 or 6 different shirts and pants and stuff like that.
That you unlock through the supply line.
But I would love more.
Yeah,
I want more unique outfits. I want more unique
Some of the gun skins, you're like, really?
Yeah. I want to be able to make Walker look more how the representative of how I would want Walker to look. Do you know what I mean? Or Ma or anyone you play as, but like my main's Walker. So I would love to have more options of clothing.
I would love a system of like, here's the thing. I would love a system, 2 things that we've always been like, man, it would be cool if that existed. One is like a trick shot system where it's like, oh, you just took out 2 zombies. Here's a buff, or here's like, here you get gold. The mutations if they gave you something, or even the bot. Like the main thing was if the bosses did something for you, because in some levels
it's just punishing.
It's just one specifically is like 1-2, Act 1, level 2. The boss is a part of the level.
Yeah,
it's introducing this major boss, but it's also a part of the level. You don't have to fight it.
Yeah, I learned that.
You don't have to fight it because it doesn't give you anything.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
So
or give you a bunch of copper. Yeah.
So if they want me to play the game, give me 500 copper or 100. I don't know.
What if it's like, even if it's like you get for every boss mutation or something like that, you get 5 extra supply points.
Yeah, I was just going to say 5 supply points.
Yeah, it's like you get something where it's like, okay, now it's like,
maybe the bosses is 5, and then every regular mutation you fight is 1 extra supply
or point. If you don't, I don't know how they would do it, because it'd be really hard, but it's like if you don't incur any damage when you're in Act 2 when the ogre's out.
Yeah.
Like, so it rewards you 1 for being aggro, and it rewards you 1 for being slippery.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's great. I mean, I love. For me, one of my favorite cards is the one where you get up to 15% extra damage for every special ridden that your team kills.
Yeah.
So like you have it in there. You have a way
Confident
to keep
killer.
track. You have a way to keep track of how many special ridden we're killing. Why not 1 supply point?
I would love more stat tracking. I think that would be cool.
In your HUD.
Not just like even overall stat tracking, like
So like at the end of the episode where they're like, you killed this many things, but I was like, but how many did I kill?
How many headshots did I get? How many and even like
they used to do that in Left 4 Dead, the credits roll, and you get to see how everyone did at the end of the story.
I think something that they are adding is like just a continuation mode where it's just like, because right now if you do an act, you're done with that run. But I think that they're going to add like, do you want to continue to the next act?
Can you see accuracy or anything like that? No. It'd be nice to see. It would be nice to see.
It would be cool to see like a stat of like your current deck. Like, when it's stacked and you have all 15 cards, you have this percentage of weak spot damage. You have, this is your damage. This is your melee damage. This is this, like that kind of stuff.
That's actually a little like kind of Hades or roguelike, where like if you continue going on, you get better and better, but then it's gonna get harder and harder.
Yeah, it'd be cool if they can let you make like a 60 card deck that is and you do a continuation run.
Yeah,
you can't save. You have to play it through. But you get to build whatever the fuck you want with 60 cards.
Or even if it's just like, because like if you're playing Nightmare, when you move up in difficulties, like in Recruit, pretty much you can start at any level, almost. When you get to Veteran, a lot less starting points. When you get to Nightmare, it's just like, oh, buddy, you're here.
Yeah.
Like you're here until you get to the end.
Yeah.
So it's like old school cabinet arcade games where it's like starts you all the way from the beginning, baby.
Which is one thing that people are like, add a few more checkpoints, because it's like not everybody, like you were saying, not everybody can sit down for 2, 3, 4 hours.
It messes with the pace of the gaming, because if you mess up, something happens.
Left 4 Dead had a lot of checkpoints. That's true.
Yeah. If you mess up with like a ghost bullet, or you don't see the crows, or you accidentally shoot a thing, you end the game. You ended the game. And so
Left 4 Dead did not have checkpoints. My
I
mistake.
forgot. One thing that was added was burn cards, because you have the main cards that you're unlocking and you're building your decks, but you also have burn cards that you're just kind of like. And what burn cards are, they are one-time use. Once you use them, they're burned. They're gone. Which is another. It's a really fun mechanic.
I haven't got to play with those yet.
But one of them is I forgot. I always forget the name of it, but it gives you a continue. So if you lose a continue, somebody plays that burn card. Okay, we're back. We're okay.
Nice.
We're not
okay,
going to
that's
die.
good to have.
Is there
good
one?
to have.
I don't know if there's one. I haven't played with the burn cards. It'd be cool. It's like take away a corruption card.
No, that would be dope.
That'd
would
be really cool.
Cool.
I feel complete.
I feel complete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run
this
ended.
is fun. I can't wait to see what they do with the game in the future. I'm excited for the DLC. I got the season pass.
Yeah.
So whatever. I'm excited to see what cleaners they come out with. Excited to see what new maps they come out with in whatever future that looks like on the timeline. But I will definitely be playing.
Yes. I'm going to be playing tonight, probably. Nice. Everybody at home, thank you so much for listening. If you are playing Back 4 Blood, let us know what you think of the game. Reach out. We're always open to talking about these things, continuing the conversation. Go out to social media, the DMs. The Discord is probably the best way to continue the conversation from episodes, because there is a channel for everything. There is a video game channel that we can continue this conversation. We love doing that.
Or if you're feeling spicy, just go ahead and give us a 5-star review on your podcast app and tell us what you think.
Yeah, spicy. Actually, that kind of stuff, that brings up a very valid point. It's a very important thing, and it does help us grow. Is ratings, reviews, sharing us, like just spreading the word. That really is one of the main ways that we have been able to grow and to keep going doing what we're doing, on top of the Nerd On Nation. The Nerd On Nation, that even as little as $4 a month, that helps us to continue. It helps us to keep doing this. We're in our 5th year, and if I'm speaking for all of us, we probably would not be here if it were not for the Nerd On Nation.
And imagine where we can go.
Yeah, imagine where we can go.
To the moon, Marty.
To the moon. To the wall. But that is the episode. Stop by that YouTube. I forget about that almost all the time. All of these videos go to video.
Yeah, they do.
You can see the shenanigans. If you're like, what are they talking? What hand gesture? Go to the video.
Or for making that episode.
We might be here. You can see my new blue hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like my hair.
Blue hair don't care.
Blue hair don't care.
He blew
that's
himself.
It. I blew myself. But that is it. Thanks for listening. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Happy hunting and Back for Blood. But that's it.
Happy cleaning.
Happy cleaning. You know the drill. As always, nerd on.
That's one of my favorite ways we've chosen a subject was,
Blade.
was Blade. Like, guys, we got to choose something else. And Tom, without even really looking up, Blade. And then Josh just goes, Blade. And I sat here and watched the whole thing. I was like, I don't even need to say yes. They already know.
I think that's it. You guys ready?
Production and brief. I'll do brief. Okay.
I mean, I don't even know if you need to because his intro is
Kind of the brief.
kind of a brief.
Oh, not for this.
I would
Jesus
say-
Christ,
I'd
I'm
say-
thinking Blade again.
Oh.
I was gonna say.
Do you guys just want to do Blade?
For some reason, they both start with B. I don't know.
Ending broadcast.